Hey folks, welcome back. So today we're going to take a look at a revisit of how to fix the magazine here. I've had issues in the past where the original magazine I came with started leaking, and I think it was my fault because I might have damaged it at one point. So try to figure a way how to fix it. I tried it before; it was kind of a half-ass fix, so it didn't really work out too well. And so I ordered some parts and I'm gonna replace it. And I have a theory of what's going on. And so we're gonna see if switching this particular part will fix it. And hopefully in this video we'll also take apart the gun or the magazine and kind of look at what's inside a little bit. Just kind of a easy parts replacement if parts need to be changed. Especially with, as we all know, CO2 mags are very finicky. So with that, let's see here. Let's take a look at this. So this is the original magazine here. Pop this casing out, housing unit. So this is what it is. So I'm going to unload the rounds out of it, and I'm going to make sure that there's no pressure left in the CO2 cartridge, because that would be very dangerous if I were to unscrew this. In fact, it's popped before, and that's probably why it's messed up now. But don't ever do that. Make sure you press down on this a release valve here to make sure, if you were going to open this, to make sure that there is indeed no pressure left in there. Okay, so let's get started. Sorry about that. So I missed the camera recording for that part, but all I really did was punch out the two holding pins on this part and pull the tube straight out. This is where the CO2 container is stored. My only advice is take like a roll of tape or something like that, and the way I did it was just leave it on here, and then use a punch and just knock out the two retaining pins, which are these right here. Just be careful because they are threaded on a certain side. So like right here, it's hard to tell, but it's threaded on that end right there, right? Whereas on the other end, it's smooth. So you want to knock it out from this side to push it out, because it won't go in with that side, right? Same thing the other side. It's hard to tell which order they were, but I think they're going in opposite directions, basically. So one goes out one way, the other goes out the other way. And I guess that's how you should put it back in too. Anyway, so the hard part is now this right here, right? So I don't have the proper tools, like, with WE, you have the device here that you can use to remove it. Unfortunately, that's too small and it won't reach there. If you have a large enough flathead screwdriver, you might be able to, line up both sides right there and then turn it in. But since I don't have that right now, we're gonna have to get a little creative. And what I kind of did was I kind of just put it here and start wedging it in. And let's see if I can get it to kind of just wedged it like that. And this does kind of damage it a little bit, but I'm removing it anyway and replacing it with a new one. So, see, that's how it looks like. I'm only using one part right there, right? And I'm kind of turning it to fix this. Let's see here. And it's slowly coming out. Looks like I got it. It's not too bad. Okay, so now that that's popped out, looks like that. I was afraid that I was gonna have to like unscrew this part and then remove the whole thing, but that's not too bad. It's just straight out. You unscrew it from there. Okay, so what we'll do is, this is what it looks like, right? This is the pin. This is the O-ring retention here. The thought process, or at least what I have a theory, is that that one time I removed it really quickly and the gas exploded. I think what happened is it tore open. It tore the O-ring, the rubber O-ring / seal in there, and so now every time when I put a CO2 cartridge in there, it leaks, right? So let's take out the replacement part right here. This is the model number, by the way, in case it's still available. This was purchased from, I believe it was Tiger 111, I think. And this is an overseas store, so it took about like 3 to 4 weeks to get it. So I'll go ahead and this is a brand new part here, right? That's used to puncture the CO2. This is that same uh, O-ring right there. This, since it's an O-ring, we can always try to figure out the dimensions, and it seems pretty simple, and we can always sorry about that. We can always figure something out, and then buy replacement parts for. The part that's really difficult to get replacements for, of course, is this right here. This is the part that's problematic. I'm gonna see if I can try to find like at the O-ring store to see if they have something that's similar to this. But it is going to be tough, and this is the part that was broken or cracked, I think, that caused leakages. So we're gonna try to put it in, and let's see what happens. Okay, so now that we've removed the old one, we're going to replace it with a new one. I've never done this, but as with all things involving, O-rings, we want to, especially since we're not going to access it very often, we want to oil it up with your silicone oil. Just a dab of some of this. I usually use the thicker one, not the spray one. I use this is more for like the, well, whatever, it's a thicker one, right? You kind of rub it around a little bit to make sure it's nice and oiled up. And we basically want to have a similar setup as how they originally have it, right? So just like this. So I'm just going to see if we can. All right, looks like it's in its spot. Very good. I'll just put a little bit more, just a little bit more oil right there just to make sure the O-ring, the silicone swells up the O-ring, just to make sure it, completes a good seal. Alrighty. So now that that's done, let's put in the piece that we were assuming was broken. Okay. So I assume it's just a standard drop and play. So I'm going again. My hands are already greased up right now, so I'm just going to push it straight in. I don't think there's an order, since both sides are really flat. Yeah, it's just symmetrical, so it doesn't really matter. I thought there was going to be like a groove to fit the head of the CO2 cartridge, but it doesn't really matter. So we'll just put in either way. Okay. I don't want to damage this, so I'll be very careful. I'm going to use the plastic end of this mechanical pencil right here, just trying to push in. Sorry about all those text messages. Trying to schedule something right now. Okay, all right. Now that's in. So it's kind of weird because you'll notice the two sides. The one on the left is the new one, obviously, and the one on the right is this one. This one looks a lot dirtier. It looks like more yellowish, and I don't know if that's just because it's kind of dirtier, or this is how it's supposed to come, or maybe they're just different materials. So even if I switch places, right, you can clearly tell it's not the lighting issue or anything like that. That one's much cleaner. So this one's really old too, and maybe that's part of it. Well, it's not that old, but it's about a year. So this one's a new one. So let's see how it goes. So in order to install it, I'm guessing we're just going to do the same thing over again, and we're going to just drop it in, and then we'll use our fingers at first, but once it gets to the point it's too much resistance, we're going to switch over to the screwdriver method, and try to do our best to not damage it. We don't want to strip the I guess the notches in there, right? Because then we can't really get it out. I'm gonna try to do it so y'all can see it too. But this is kind of the best I can do right now. Oops. And I certainly don't want to damage the rubber or Teflon possibly coat down there. Okay. At this point, I'm getting a lot of resistance, and I'm not getting any more movement. So I think that's pretty tight in there the way it is. So now that that's replaced, seems pretty simple, right? All we got to do now is basically put the tube back in. Make sure we line up the tube with the you see these holes right there? These are the holes. Line the tube up with the holes, like so. like that, right? Make sure we can see through them, and then that's when we're gonna drive the pins back straight into them. I normally like to leave it, put it on a roll of tape. That way, it kind of absorbs the impact a little bit. Let me just get rid of some of these rounds. But that's kind of the way to access that. Alrighty, so okay, forgot about those. Okay, now in my case, my punch that I've been using, this is, by the way, a 1/16 punch, by the way, if y'all want to know. Can you see that there? Yeah. This is what I've been using. I've used this for a lot, and actually the head of my punch is a little bit damaged already, and so it's kind of flattened out, and it's nice to have a narrow punch, because the flattened out part right there makes it, like, it creates a lot of damage when I'm knocking down on it, because it's shredding the sides a little bit. So get a good punch, but that's all I've got right now. So again, we want to try to make it work, but just keep that in mind. Okay, I'm going to put this back in, and then we'll figure this out. It's also easier to see a line of the tube and the holes in the punch right there if you don't have grime in there, right? So I like to use this little, brush right here for your teeth, because it's a very small bristle right there, and it cleans very nicely right there. So you can clean it to make sure all, like, the metal shavings that, well, in my case, cause damage there. So you can see there, and then same thing at the bottom one. Okay, there you go. So that's a lot more clean now. So you can see both of those straight through. So now all we have to do is, why don't we clean the tube real quick, actually, so again, it's not because just the way it's built, but just because of the punch that I used. Okay. Oops. So normally I know. Oops. Came in like this. So again, we'll line it up. Oh, there we go. Okay. And I can see through both. I can see through both of them. I can see the light through them both. Okay. So insert one of them one way with the rough, with the studded edges facing out. Okay. And the other one, I will do the same and insert the opposite way with the studded edges facing the other way. So as you can see right here, one goes in that way, the other goes, this one right here went in that way. All right, so now I kind of have to, like, lightly tap it in, right? Yeah, I know, I don't have a hammer, so I'm using this steel bolt carrier group that didn't fit into my AR-15. Alrighty, so now that I kind of got it nice and tapped in right there a little bit, I'm going to try to use a punch a little bit more just to get a more secure, let me see if we get a better angle to make sure y'all see that too. Right there. Okay, I'm using the punch. Oops. Okay, that's pretty nice and snugged. And then that side right here, again, same thing. Oops. There we go. So it's nice and snug. Okay, so moment of truth now, right? Let's get a CO2 cartridge and put that in and see if it still leaks or anything like that. FYI, this little yellow or orange spray here is just something I put on just so I could differentiate between the two magazines, because this is the original magazine. So I like to have it with the original housing case right there, so I know this is what came with the gun and not the new one. Okay, let's try that now. Okay, so let's grab a. This is a Crossman brand CO2 cartridge that we're gonna insert here. Usually, it's always a good idea just to put a drop or so on the head of the silicone, the CO2 cartridge, so it provides some lubrication there. And now we're going to close this here. Okay. And then we have to tighten it with a screwdriver, a flathead, because obviously you're not going to get much mechanical advantage using your fingers. Now, if it works, you should hear it hiss a little bit because that's when the seal has been punctured. But then after that, if I keep turning, it should stop. Before, no matter how hard I twist and turn, it's going to keep hissing out. So let's see if it works. So it's still leaking, as you can hear. I think I might have assembled it wrong. Not sure why. Maybe the seal's not tight enough. That's a wasted cartridge right there. So I can't go any further, but it's still hissing out. So I'm going to have to see if I can retighten it, because maybe that's what the issue was. Okay, so that unfortunately didn't work out, but that's okay. We're going to try it one more time. What I did differently was I knocked the pins in a little bit further just to make sure that they're truly tight. So as you can see, this one's knocked in all the way, it's sticking out the other edge. This one, again, same thing, knocked in, sticking out the other edge. Okay, I also did something else too. This, I forgot to mention this. Notice how it looks kind of clean right now, or relatively clean. A lot of, I don't know if it's like carbon fouling or if it's just the metal shavings, but these black metal shavings fouling basically gunks up and gets caught in these grooves. And they get caught in the threads as well, and so it's very hard for me to completely close this smoothly once it gets kind of deeper in there. So I cleaned that out, and maybe that's going to help me be able to push the CO2 cartridge further in and give it more of a complete seal rather than just do a partial puncture and unable to fully seat the cartridge in. Okay, so let's try that again, and if it doesn't work, then well, I think we're kind of out of luck for now. So let's see what happens. So let's try the same thing again. The same old Crossman brand. Dropping that in. Again, cleaned. There's still some wobble, but hopefully that this will help seat it better. Okay. Boy, it is very tough to turn this in. No, that didn't really do anything. Oh, there we go. Okay, looks like it's seated fully. I'm trying to listen. Not leaking at all. Okay, so it's just maybe it's a new rubber seal, so what we'll do is, but it stopped leaking, so it's good. I mean, we wasted a bunch of gas already, but we'll let it cool off. And what we'll do is we'll leave it overnight, like that. Hopefully the seal will take form a little bit better, and then we'll try that again. But and then I'll come back and we'll see if that really makes a difference. But at least it's better than before, because now it can at least hold the CO2 cartridge. The other magazine is just much easier. Just spin it in, and it leaks for it spills out a little bit of gas during the couple, like for the first second, but then you can easily turn it in. This one, I don't know why it's so hard to screw it in. It's it's a little bit easier once the grime is out, but it's still ridiculously difficult. So I think that's probably what the issue is right now. So again, we'll find out tomorrow, and then we'll come back and see if maybe having a night of a CO2 cartridge in there will kind of quote unquote break in the new seal. All right, so now it's been a couple of days. I just opened it up again and took out the old cartridge. Held the gas, so there's a couple shots left. So I know we knew it sealed it okay, but what we want to know now is, can you easily put it in now and puncture the seal and not have it leak a significant amount before we can get it under control. So hopefully now the theory was that we broke it in, we kind of molded the rubber seal, or the probably Teflon seal in there to a certain extent. So we'll find out now. So it's been about 3 days, I think it was. So this is the same one that we changed out. And if it doesn't work, all right, if this doesn't work, I suspect that what happened is that it's possible that really this tube is really damaged now, because maybe uh, by process of using it, maybe wiggling it around a little bit too much, maybe I've damaged the lines right here, or the pins right here, and so it's not holding completely tightly like it used to, and because of that, maybe that's kind of the problem. So I'm hoping that's not the case, because if that is, then again we have to go back to the drawing board and buy more parts for this. So let's find out. Okay. We'll, okay. Tighten that up, and then we're going to see if this punctures it now. I think that did it, actually. I heard it puncture. The seal was a very brief hiss, and I hope we caught that on camera. So there are a couple rounds ready to go, so we're going to grab that MP5 and we'll see if it fires. Okay, so here we go. Lock the bolt to the rear. We'll slide it back into its housing unit. Pretty excited this works, but let's see here. Okay. Let's see here. Yep, there you go. So looks like we fixed it. So that was the main issue. So I hope you folks found that kind of helpful. I know I did. I was kind of wondering, how we're going to fix this, but it looks like we've got the problem sorted out. So we've got 2 working magazines now, which is a great thing. All right, see y'all next time.